What is going on, everyone? We are here for week 4 of the Ferrari Fixed Track Guide series. This week we're at Circuit Road Atlanta. Should be a great little track to race these cars, and actually looking forward to bringing you this one. Also with the Petit Le Mans series running on Saturday this week as well. It will give you extra GT practice for that event, so hopefully this has helped you. Let us know how you go with your racing this week. Also with Petit Le Mans, if you guys are entering and what you're entering. And yeah, thank you for everybody that's been liking, subscribing, sharing the videos with friends. So I really appreciate it, guys. So let's get into week 4 at Road Atlanta. Alright guys, so now we're going to break down the lap. So as we're coming down into turn 1, 5th gear, you're looking for the end of the pit wall here. Just past it, we're looking for the start of this yellow line right here. So this is my brake marker into turn 1. Obviously I'm not probably angled in the direction I would be when I would be coming into the corner. I'd be more sort of looking for this sort of angle. 5th gear, back to 3rd gear. Don't downshift too early, but you kind of want to downshift as you're rolling into the corner, if that makes sense. So I actually shift to 3rd a lot closer to the apex than you would probably think. So as we come down, I sort of stay in line with the motel sign, motel billboard until I get to about this point here. But you can see I'm already starting to drift towards the inside of the corner. Now the reason I'm doing that is as we get closer, you can actually see the amount of camber that rolls into the curb. So it's kind of got like a bit of a bowl effect going. So the closer and tighter you can get down there, the more sort of speed you can actually carry, because the car will have more sort of load and force on it, and it sort of holds it in place, if that makes sense. So roll it down into the bowl. You want to get nice and close, just by the flag marshal stand on the inside here. You want to start to really get close to that curb, and you want to get to this point here where you just clip the curb about 3 blue squares from the end, right? And then from that point there, you need to start to be throttling up quite aggressively. As you throttle the car up, the car's going to push a little bit off the middle. You want to end up at about this point here. Short shift to 4th. And I sort of make sure I start to drift back towards the right hand side a little bit to open up the next segment of corners for me. As I come up the hill, I sort of stay in line with these trees until I get to the flag marshal hut on the right hand side here, and then I start to sort of change my trajectory, and I'm looking for the V in the trees, right? The V will signify where the apex point is. I sort of get close to this curb, nice big brake pressure at the start of the curb, back to third gear, I come off the curb and I diagonal the car from that point there. So as you can see, as we're getting closer and closer to the apex, we're going to be in line with the apex as we're in line with the V in the trees right there. So you can see from that point there, we're able to pick up the throttle, third gear, the car's going to push through here. You want to get 2 tyres up on the curb and be very sort of, the best way I could describe it is you want to dance on the throttle through here. So you want to start to apply throttle pressure, but you don't want to come off the curb until the curb ends. Now the reason we're doing that is we're sacrificing a little bit through this mid corner here to really maximise the run down the hill. If you accelerate too hard through here, you're going to push wide and you're going to have to take a huge lift to set yourself back up on the left hand side to go down the hill. So by sacrificing a little bit here, you're not losing too much, but then you're actually going to gain a lot as we go down the hill. So come off here, you want to make sure you stay as close to the left hand side as possible. Up to 4th gear, I turn in at the end of the curb here on the left hand side, and what I do is I just lift off the throttle to get the nose of the car to start to rotate into the corner. Now once I get the car to start to rotate in towards the corner, I'm back on the throttle as I chase it down the hill. 4th gear, run the car the whole way down. I stay off this curb on the left here. I just don't feel comfortable using it, but I use the 2 on the right. Then as I come up here, I want to start braking once I get to the start of the curb. From 4th back to 3rd gear, I stay on the curb until the curb starts to wrap around the corner. So at this point here, I actually drop the car off the curb and I start to turn in at the corner. I want to hit the apex right when I'm in line with the flag marshal stand, so right at this point here. So the second last blue square, and let the car chase up the road. Now this bit's the tricky bit, because you can use this part of the curb, but I don't like to, because there's a lot of bumps and undulations, and this car, as soon as it starts to compress and bounce, I don't know if it's just a challenge setup that it makes it feel like that, or if it's actually just how this car is. It starts to like move around in the rear of the car a little bit too much, and I don't feel like I'm getting the power or the traction down. So I make sure I use a little bit of it to carry the speed, but then at the same time I try and keep as much of the car on the track as well. As you come through here, use all this escape road. You want to make sure you start to get back on the track by the end of the escape road. Up to 4th. Now start to set yourself up on the left hand side again. Now this one's pretty sort of deep in the corner, so we're gonna go past the 200 meters. Alright, so I'm braking here at this white line, so it's kind of just before it, so it's about this point here, maybe another half a car length back. Nice big brake pressure. 4th gear back to 3rd. Now I wouldn't say I stay super close to the edge of the road. I'm probably more in line with the crack than actually on the edge of the road. But once I get to the start of the tyre bundle on the right hand side on the inside, or the start of the white line, I really start to throw the car in at the corner in 3rd gear. So as I turn the car in, you'll see it's got a little bit of a bowl effect again. It's not as much as turn 1, but there's still a little bit of camber on the inside of the road here. I want to clip the apex just as we get to the end of the inside curb. I'm going to let the car push wide in 3rd gear. Now this is the tricky one, because there is no real brake marker, but I'm using about 4 blue squares from the end as my marker. Probably you could push it a little bit further, but I don't like to overrun the entry here, because if you do, you're kind of chasing yourself the whole way down the straight. You really want to make sure you maximize your exit. So big brake pressure, 3rd back to 2nd, stay nice and close to the edge of the road. Once we get to this white line, or the line that changes from yellow to white, that is when we rotate the car in at the corner, turn the car in at the corner. Now as you come into this apex, you want to clip the apex right at the end of the curb. So right at this point here, you'll see I just use a little tiny bit of curb just to help with rotation. But then as I come off, I'm squaring the car up very quickly. So you'll see I've already started to wind the wheel off before we're even there. Now the car, when you're carrying full speed, you're going to end up right near the edge of the road. You can use 2 tyres up on the curb if you feel like it's going to help you. I use a little tiny bit, but I don't use too much. So, and I try and get off it pretty quick as well. So, and then it's a straight run down the back straight. You've also got to be careful in that corner just for a little bit of understeer from time to time, especially as the tyres heat up. You do tend to favour more understeer than a snap oversteer there, so got to be careful of that as well. Up through the gears, we're going to get to 5th gear as we're coming down the back straight. We're going to come and set ourselves up on the right hand side here. We're going to get past the 300 metre, past the 200 metre, and we're looking for the 100 metre board. Alright, so right at this point here, so I'll just stop just before it. So this is roughly, well, if I move forward, it'll be actually here. It's roughly so. As you can see, there's probably half a car to the white line in front of us, so you can use that as a reference. There's some fence that's like it looks a bit more rusty, or it's been painted red, so you can use that. You can use the 100 metre board. So there's a couple of markers here for your brake pressure. So, and then what you want to do is 5th gear, back to 2nd gear, and then as you're coming down, you want to turn in once you get to the end of the curb on the right hand side here. So as we get to this point here, you start to turn the car at the corner, and you want to sacrifice a little tiny bit mid-corner here, just a tiny bit. You want to use quite a bit of curb, but you want to set yourself up over this side of the track. So then that way, once you get to about this point, you can start to turn the car in at the corner quite early. Get nice and close to the curb. The car's going to push. You're going to end up using a little bit of curb on the outside, and then you want to start to add straight directly across the circuit. Now the reason I'm doing that is because even though this is probably marked as 1 corner, I treat it like 2. Or if it's marked as 2, I treat it like 1. It depends how you look at it. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that my right hand tyres is as close to this white line as I come over the crest, right? And then from that point there, you'll start to see the trajectory of the way I'm taking the car down the hill is I'm aiming for the end of the curb on the left hand side here, right? And then once I get down there, I want to start turning back at the corner. So turn back at the corner, and then as you can see, I'm carrying all that speed, and I want to just nick that apex right at the end there. So on that second last buoy square, that's when I want to get to the apex. So see, on my diamonding the corner, I'm going in, clipping like an apex on the way in, letting it run right out to the outside, and then clipping the apex on the way out. And by doing that, you're just flowing more of the car through the corner. You're not sort of like wrenching on the wheel too much, so you're actually giving yourself more, and you're using all the track as well. So and there you go, guys. That is your track guide walkthrough lap of the Ferrari for the Fixed Challenge Track Guide Series at Road Atlanta for week 4. I hope this has helped you guys. Good luck for this week's racing, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week for week 5. See you then.